Good evening all, welcome to another video with Pratham Test Prep. This is your host Sushila Chaudhary, and today we'll be talking about the very important judgment that was delivered by the Supreme Court of India today on marriage equality petitions. So today the Supreme Court of India has rejected the legalization of same-sex marriage, dealing a blow to LGBTQIA plus rights in the country. This decision was made by a 5-judge bench led by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud following the hearings that took place between April and May. The case involved 21 separate petitions from members of the LGBTQIA plus community who argued that their inability to marry amounted to a violation of their constitutional right, effectively relegating them to the second-class citizens. Now let's talk about what exactly is marriage equality. So marriage equality refers to the legal recognition and equal treatment of same-sex marriages, granting LGBTQIA plus individuals the right to marry and enjoy the same legal benefits and protections as heterosexual couples. The marriage equality has been gaining recognition worldwide, with several countries legalizing same-sex marriage. In India, marriage equality has been a significant topic of discussion and debate, with numerous petitions filed to advocate the equal rights of the LGBTQIA plus community. The Indian Constitution does not explicitly ban same-sex marriage, but it also does not provide for it. The petitions are based on the arguments that denying same-sex marriage the right to marry violates their fundamental right of equality and non-discrimination under the Constitution of India. Now let's talk about the acronym that we have been using, LGBTQIA+. Now talking about the acronym LGBTQIA+ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, asexual or ally. And the plus represents an inclusive umbrella for various other identities and expressions that are not explicitly mentioned in the acronym. The plus at the end of the acronym acknowledges that there are many other diverse sexual orientation, gender identities and expressions beyond those that are explicitly listed on your screens. It is an exclusive symbol to welcome and recognize the fluidity and the complexity of human sexuality and gender. This acronym is continually evolving to reflect a growing understanding of these aspects of human identity and experiences. Now, we'll take a look on all the cases that have been important judgments on LGBTQIA rights that have been delivered in India. So first of all, we'll be dealing with National Legal Service Authority versus Union of India, which is also famously known as the NALSA judgment. So in the NALSA case judgment, the NALSA judgment actually led to the recognition of transgender people as a third gender by the Supreme Court of India, affirming that the fundamental rights granted under the Constitution of India will be equally applicable to them as well. The second case that we'll be discussing is K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. So in this particular judgment, it is a judgment regarding right to privacy. The Supreme Court held that sexual orientation of any individual comes under his or her right to privacy. And this landmark judgment became the basis of declaring Section 377 of IPC, under which homosexuality was a crime, unconstitutional. So Section 377 was actually became unconstitutional in the next case that we'll be discussing, that is Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India. So in Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India, until September 2018, the Section 377 of Indian Penal Code criminalized consensual same-sex relationship between including marriage. This section was challenged in the landmark case of the Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India, leading to the decriminalization of homosexuality by the Supreme Court of India. The case was filed by a group of petitioners seeking decriminalization of consensual same-sex relationship, and on September 6, 2018, the Supreme Court of India unanimously struck down Section 377, affirming the right to privacy and equality to LGBTQIA plus individuals. Following the decriminalization of homosexuality, various petitions have been filed to advocate for marriage equality in India. There is another case that we'll be discussing before we get into what exactly the judgment talks about in this particular case. So that case is Deepika Singh versus Central Administrative Services. So in this case, Supreme Court expanded the definition of a family and observed that familial relationship may also include unmarried partnership or queer relationship, and these atypical families should enjoy equal protection and benefits under the law. Now coming back to the case at hand, Now, in this particular case, like we know, marriage equality petitions in India, they represent the ongoing struggle of LGBTQIA plus individuals, their rights and their recognitions. But the Supreme Court has declined to legalize the same-sex marriage, with the Chief Justice of the country saying that making such a law is the domain of the Parliament. The court ruling comes after 5 years of the historic judgment of 2018, that is the Navtej Singh Johar judgment, which scrapped the colonial era ban on gay sex. The case was seen as a milestone event for the LGBTQIA rights in India, and the verdict is a blow for the community in this particular aspect. Now, talking about what happened throughout the hearings. So throughout the hearings, various arguments were presented encompassing topics such as right to equality, right to privacy, legal rights associated with marriage, and the potential impact of same-sex marriage on children. The opponents to the petitioner included central government, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and the GMAT, an Islamic body. So, the Solicitor General in this particular case, Tushar Mehta, argued that during the petition, he argued that the law could not be reconfigured to permit same-sex marriage and recommended leaving the matter to Parliament for the consideration. The government of India also opposed the petition, calling them urban elitist views and stating that the marriage is only between a biological male and a biological woman, adding the same-sex marriage is not comparable to Indian family unit concept of husband, wife and children. The petitioners in this particular case advocated that adding LGBTQIA plus marriage to the Special Marriage Act, stressing its core purpose. The core purpose of Special Marriage Act was to validate marginalized unions and preserving a personal choice in marriage. But they dismissed the concerns, the petitioners also dismissed the concerns about undermining the Act's intent, prioritizing constitutionally compliant interpretation. The petitioner argued for the petitioner argued for the constitutional morality over social norms, citing that LGBTQIA rights precedents. They downplayed the potential consequences of expanding the Special Marriage Act, trusting the court to address the legal issues. The court's decision in this particular case means that same-sex couples in India are still barred from assessing some of the legal benefits attached to matrimony in relation to issues like adoption, insurance and inheritance. The Supreme Court ruling stated that there would be no legal recognition of same-sex marriage in India, as the definition of marriage was firmly established as being between a man and a woman in Special Marriage Act. However, the court did encourage the government to establish legal recognition of same-sex couples to prevent discrimination. Additionally, the Supreme Court also refused to strike down Special Marriage Act and Foreign Marriage Act for not recognizing queer marriages, and the Supreme Court held that transgender people in heterosexual relationship have rights to marry under the existing law. In this particular case, there was a dissenting opinion in which the CJI, D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice S.K. Kaul held that queer relationships have the right to adopt, but Justices S. Ravindra Bhatt, Hema Kohli and P.S. Narasimha disagreed, so there will be no right to adopt for queer couples as of now. The judgment stopped short of including such couples within the existing legal framework of marriage, asserting that the concept is not universally defined and it should be a prerogative of Parliament and state legislatures to pass laws acknowledging and regulating the same-sex marriages. Now, in conclusion, we can see that the legal rights of LGBTQIA people in India have been expanding over the past decade, and this can be seen through all these judgments that have been passed by our honorable courts. So, the legal rights have been expanding, but the same-sex marriage is still not recognized, and it is important to note that while this ruling is a setback for the LGBTQIA community in India, but it is not the final word on the matter. The court has called upon, the court has called upon the government to create legal recognition of same-sex couples, leaving it to Parliament and state legislatures to pass laws recognizing and regulating the queer marriages. That was all from our side today. It's gonna be a long fight. And thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please like, comment and share. And for more such content, please subscribe to Pratham Test Prep. Thank you.